All right, Mr. D, how about pruning fruit trees? We're starting to get that call at the office.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time. Now is the time to do it. I usually, say wait until a winter chill requirement has been satisfied, and I think we can safely say
Yes.
a winter chill requirement on all of our fruits have been satisfied.
I think
this
they
year.
have been. You got that right.
Usually around the middle of March is a pretty good target date, and so we're there. And it's very important to go out there and prune fruit trees. We do a much better job of pruning fruit trees than Mother Nature.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nature, somebody's going to prune them, either you or Mother Nature. And if Mother Nature does it, she'll break the trees down, and she's pretty brutal. I know that when people see me prune a fruit tree, they think I'm brutal, but Mother Nature's more brutal than me.
And I've seen you prune fruit trees.
You have.
And I think you are brutal.
And I've had people stop me and go, okay, that's enough. I think I got the idea.
Yeah.
I got the idea. But it's like cutting hair. I used to clip show steers, and if you cut too much off, it'll grow back. Except for my situation, that may not be the case. But with fruit trees, it's very important to there are different ways to prune fruit trees. Peaches, plums, and nectarines, we recommend pruning to the open-centered system. You open up the center of the tree so that light can get to the tree and the fruit, and also that you'll have good air drainage. And so it's called the open-centered or the vase system. 3 or 4 main scaffold limbs are what you need. Prune it so that it's no taller than 8 feet. You want to be able to work peach, plum, and nectarine trees from the ground if you possibly can. You take off any limbs growing back toward the center and thin out limbs if you have too many limbs. That's just, and that also, while you're doing that, you're not only helping, the strength of the tree and helping design the shape of the tree and everything, you're also thinning fruit. Mm-hmm. And most of our fruits put on 80% more fruit than they can tolerate anyway. And so you're doing some fruit thinning by pruning. Now, apple and pear trees, you prune a little differently. We use the Christmas tree style or the pyramid style, where you have one strong central leader. Pears are going to try to have 4 or 5. Some apple trees will also try to have a couple of central leaders. So you go in there and you choose the best central leader, and that's what you have. And you'll have a whirl of limbs, 3 or 4 limbs, maybe 5 limbs, evenly spaced around the tree at about 18 to 25 inches from the ground. You'll have about another 18 or 25 inches clear on that central leader, and you have another whirl. And you continue doing that to the point where you don't want to climb any higher. and when you get the tree as tall as you want, and I've got a couple of pear trees that are as tall as I want them, and I can't work them from the ground. I have a ladder, but I'm not going to let them get over probably 12 feet tall. And I just keep topping that central leader there. With apple and pear trees, we head back the fruit. You'll take off about 1/3 of last year's growth, and on a limb that's growing upward, you'll take that 1/3 off right above a bud that's growing in the direction that you want the limb to grow, and that's usually toward the outside of the tree. Any limbs that are growing back toward the center of the tree, even on apples and pears, you take them off. If you have limbs that cross each other, you take them off, and
any
by
disease,
doing that,
limbs,
by doing that, you can do a much better job with your cover sprays. You thin the tree out. But now is the best time to prune fruits. It's the least stressful on the tree. And do keep in mind, though, if a real hard freeze is forecast within 48 hours, hold off of your pruning. If we have another cold snap that comes through and you're out there pruning, because that freeze may, take off some of the things that it stresses a tree much more to prune it shortly before a hard freeze than if you wait until after that freeze happens.
Wow, how about that? Now, why is it important to prune in the first place?
Because the trees that we've designed, are commercially available to fruit producers, and we have just designed fruit trees that grow really well, and they grow so much they put on more buds and more limbs than the tree can actually support. And if you don't, and I've done this in people's front yards before. I had Mr. Henry Pear down in Theodore, Alabama. He challenged me basically. He had a new peach tree, about 3 years old, 2 or 3 year old peach tree in his front yard. Had a couple of them. One of them he said, "I'll prune," and the other one you prune. And we started the trees out the same way. With a young peach tree, you top it at about 18 inches from the ground, and that's where you force all your scaffold limbs. That's why when you drive by a peach orchard, all of the trees kind of look like peas in a pod, because they're topped at about 18 to 25 inches. You put a mark on your knee. You don't have to measure every one of them. You put a mark on your knee and pop them all at that height. And then I pruned the tree, and he pruned the tree. He had a very heavy fruit load at one time, and he had not pruned. And a thunderstorm came through, a little bit of wind, and all 4 of his scaffold limbs broke off, And so he's got a nub out there, and I've got a peach tree that's flourishing. And not only did that happen in his front yard, he had an orchard behind his house that he lost probably 90% of the ones that he didn't prune.
Wow.
So it's just something that you pretty much have to do. You can get by, and you go out into people's backyard, and they want you to help them with a tree that has never been pruned, and it's just like a jungle, and usually there's a lot of scars on that tree where limbs are broken off, and the growth usually gets up pretty high. There's no way to work it from the ground, because instead of the growth starting at 18 to 25 inches, you may have limbs coming out at shoulder high that are your scaffold limbs on trees that have never been pruned, because the lower ones have been broken off. Yeah. And so it's just something that you need to do. You need to it's very, very important if you're going to either prune your fruit trees or buy your fruit at the grocery store or farmer's market.
One or the other, farmer's market or something like that.
Right.
And I guess this would be the time that Mr. Jones down at Jones Orchard would probably be pruning.
They're out there pruning. I guarantee you, they're pruning like crazy out there.
Wow. Good lesson from Mr. D about pruning those fruit trees.